So good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another edition of the Is It That Bad series, where we take a look at an album that, it could be controversial, or maybe it was shit on when it came out, and we re-listen to the album like years later, and we ask the question, is it really that bad? So for this edition, we're talking about an album that it's really interesting, and it's Lulu by Lou Reed and Metallica. And this is the album cover of that album that came out in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. And again, I'm joined by Tom the Green Man and JC Rock and Metal Review. So first of all, guys, how are you?
Good. Thanks.
Very good, thanks, man. Yeah, all good.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, we listened to this album again for preparation for this video. So we're gonna we have the 3 rounds. On the first round, we're gonna talk about our first impressions listening to this album. Then we're gonna pick 4 tracks because this is a long fucking album. And finally, our final thoughts, and we decide if the album goes in the trash or is it safe. So today let's start with Tom the Green Man. So Tom, what were your initial impressions of Lulu by Lou Reed and Metallica?
Yeah, well, Lulu, I didn't actually know the whole album, so this was my first experience listening to it all the way through. I knew a couple of songs on here, including Iced Honey, and I knew that song because I remember when they performed that on the Jules Holland show, when Lou Reed and Metallica performed that on the Jules Holland show, and I saw that performance, and I thought, oh, this sounds kind of interesting, not sort of something I think that is going to make me buy the album. So it was a while before I checked out the whole album as recently, but I heard a couple of other songs on there as well. And I understand this came about because at the 2009 25th anniversary of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Metallica and Lou Reed obviously had a bit of a conversation and thought, let's get together, let's do an album. And apparently that's how this all started. And I still don't really know Lou Reed's stuff very well, to be honest. Obviously I know Metallica very well, but don't really know him too well. And this felt like 2 artists coming together that thought it would work, but I'm not really sure. It's sort of, for me, this album sounds like a lot of Lou Reed kind of rambling, doing his kind of spoken word stuff with a lot of very interesting lyrics on this album, alongside Metallica just kind of sounding like they're in a room next door jamming out with their riffs and stuff. And it's like that for almost an hour and 20 minutes. And you're kind of wondering, is the album going to pick up at some point? Is it going to do something different? Because it kind of sounds pretty similar most of the way through. It's just kind of Lou Reed rambling, and that sort of thing. I think it's kind of abstract. Some people might see this as a bit of for me, it doesn't really work, but some people might see it as a sort of abstract work of art. When you see a contemporary bit of modern art, and some people think, oh yeah, that's really interesting, I've never seen anything like that before, but then other people are like, it's crap. I
know what you mean, man.
Sort of, yeah
I've been to Paris.
That's what I'm going to call the Lulu effect, when you see a bit of modern art. So yeah, I didn't know the album particularly well beforehand. I knew that it was trashed. I knew that I didn't really like the sound of it from the songs I'd heard before. And getting to know it more this time, I'm going to reserve my final judgment because I may have some positive things to say a bit later on. But for me, it's just a bizarre, weird, strange, 2 things coming together that you think might work, but I'm not so sure for me.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, and I like the thing that you said about art. Like, I remember I was in 2016 in Paris, and I went to like this modern art exhibit, and they had like a piece of shit like in a hole, and then like that's art. I'm like, what? So yeah, for some people, yeah, Lulu is like a weird project. So what about you, JC? Did you listen to this like this week?
I listened to it yesterday for the first time all the way through. I remember when I first heard about it, and maybe a couple years afterwards. This is when things were on streaming, and I wanted to check it out. I listened to I think maybe like the first song, and then I turned it off. I didn't like get through the entire albums. Now listening to it all the way through, it's very like tedious because it's a long album, and it's strange because like if you're expecting Metallica album, it's not. They're more like in the background. This is just like Lou Reed kind of like doing his own thing. Actually, I listened to it on YouTube, and I saw like the top rated comment, and it was funny because it said that Lou Reed used his last breath of life to troll Metallica fans, and I think that's
I saw that.
a good a good example of what this is pretty much. Like Lou Reed has always been like this guy. He's always been kind of weird. I mean, he's very influential. I've never really been into him, but he's done a lot of like weird things. Like back in 1975, he released this album called Metal Machine Music, and it's just like an entire album is just like feedback, and it's like the worst one of like the worst rated like albums of all time. And there are also like some people who like think it's art. You gotta like check that out. It's called Metal Machine Music by Lou Reed. But anyway,
I will check it out.
so yeah, that's really my opinion of this. It's more of a Lou Reed album. I think if you're a fan of Lou Reed and like all of his work over the years, maybe you can appreciate it. As a Metallica fan, I don't think you can appreciate it, but I don't know. Like I said, I'll save my judgment for the end. But
Yeah, of course.
that's just my first thoughts on this. Yeah.
Your first thought. So yeah, it's interesting. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I think this was probably Lars' idea. Lars was probably like talking to Lou Reed and looking at some fancy schmancy art. And he's like, "Hey, Lou, we should make an album together." He'd be like, "Okay." And they're like, "Yeah, let's record an album. And what are we gonna name it? Lulu." And I'm like, I don't know, like Lulu, is it a concept album? I don't know. Is it art? I don't know. But yeah, it's a weird album. I did listen to it when it came out because back in 2011, I did a radio show here in Puerto Rico, internet radio show called Rock Century 21 with a friend of mine, and when that premiered, we did like a like a listening party of Lulu Live, and like we had to turn it off and say like, what the fuck are we listening to? So yeah, so that was my first experience with this album. But this is an album that I heard when it came out. Then it went into the delete file, and I had not remember it. And we're doing this album review because you guys voted it. It got the most votes of what album we should do, and up second it was 6 feet under. So the next one will be 6 feet under because I promised that we would do the two albums that got the most votes. But yeah, Lulu won by a landslide. But yeah, I did listen to it when it came out, and yeah, it was a strange album. I don't consider it a Metallica album. It's Lou Reed, and Metallica happens to be its backing band, but it's more of a Lou Reed album. And like you guys, I never been like a Lou Reed fan. I know he's super popular, and he was in the Velvet Underground, if I'm not mistaken, which was a very influential band. But yeah, he like when you're listening to some things, like it sounds like your old grandpa drunk in a karaoke bar reciting some poetry. Basically, that's the sound of Lulu. So yeah, those are our initial thoughts. So now let's go to round number 2, where we're going to discuss our 4 least favorite tracks of the album. So Tom, what are the 4 tracks that you think are the absolute worst?
Okay, Brandenburg Gate is the first one. I think it's just, I mean, it starts off with a kind of a bizarre line straight away to sort of set the tone for almost the album you're going to get, where it says, "I would cut my legs and tits off and when I think of Boris Karloff." And it's such a strange line to start the album with, and you're like, what the hell? And it kind of gives you, I think, the impression of the album you're going to get, but the song itself just doesn't do much. I mean, it's only 4 minutes long, and in those 4 minutes, it still doesn't really kind of, for me, find much of a strong point in the song either. My second pick is about 12 minutes. I think it's Cheat on Me. And it's where Lou Reed is just sort of, there's this section of the song, it's kind of like probably about 3 or 4 minutes, I think, where he's just literally saying, cheat on me. Why do I cheat on me? Why do I cheat on me? And it's doing that over and over again. So that's probably my second pick, because I mean I just I don't know. I mean, I think that song got a tiny bit better towards the end, but for it was just too long and yeah, just too bad, that song.
And you have like James Hetfield, like, why do you cheat on me?
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was a little tiny bit better, that bit maybe, but it was still not great. And then Frustration, another track with bizarre lyrics, where I mean I don't know, he's sort of he's saying where I want you as my wife, and then spermless little girl picked up on in that track as well. I was like, what is he talking about? It is like a drunk grandpa in a bar, isn't it, really, at times? And I thought that I was a bit torn on the next. I mean, The View is kind of a strange song, where James is I think it's James going, I am the table, a lot towards the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost actually quite liked that track for its riffing in parts. So I almost wasn't going to say it was one of my least favorite tracks, but it's the lyrics that steal it.
Maybe
lyrics. I am the table, I am the chair, or whatever he says.
You know, it would have been cool if at end he just shouted IKEA.
Yeah,
IKEA would get him the table.
I mean, if anyone knows the story behind the album, what the lyrics are about, I'd be interested to know. Or if it's just like, that sounds like someone on, is high and is just reciting whatever they want to recite. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested if there was some storyline or something that this album was all about. Presumably someone called Lulu. But
yeah, and it's strange. And I saw what you said, that I saw I think I saw a meme of I am the table, which is a strange line to say, like what do you mean you are the table? Like, can someone, I just found one. I'll share it soon. So yeah, those are your 4 tracks. So what about you, JC? What tracks do you think are like the absolute worst on this album?
Okay, yeah, the first one, I'm gonna what Tom said, Brandenburg Gate. It's just very weird. Again, with Lou Reed,
there's the table
saying that weird line in the beginning, and James does sing in the background in this one, but it kind of sounds like, it doesn't even sound like Metallica's playing. It's more like a garage rock band, like in the background. That's kind of like what it sounds. And another one with like a very repetitive chorus. So that one was bad. Next, track number 4, Mistress Dread. It's like a 7-minute song. I have the length here, actually. It's like 6 minutes and 50 seconds. It just seems like it just goes on forever. I mean, you're like listening to this, I'm like, you're thinking like when's it gonna end? And these the lyrics, like all the lyrics are weird, but he's like, I beg you to degrade me. Is there waste that I could eat? I am your secret lover. I mean, these are like just really like you're wondering like what is Lou Reed like trying to say when he's like writing these lyrics? I mean, is this supposed to be art, or is he just coming up with any like just like this stuff? So anyway, my next one is Dragon, another song. It just feels like it goes on forever. And that's track number 9. It's an 11-minute song. And these songs where the lyrics are very weird. He says like hallucination, and all this an idiot's idiocy, my caring for you, I mean, I guess like it's supposed to be art. I don't really understand like what these things, what these lyrics are about. I guess you have to like read and look into them and try to figure them out. And my last one is the last one, Junior Dad. Another one. It was slow. I mean, even like the instrumental parts like weren't good. It was just kind of slow and boring, kind of goes on forever. Another one where I think like it takes some like a really long time before like Lou Reed starts speaking in that one, and then I mean really like weird lyrics. I'm just gonna reading them off the screen. Won't you pull me up, scalding? My dead father has the motor, and he's driving towards an island of lost souls. Sonny, a monkey, then to be monkey. I mean, I don't know if it's supposed to mean something or if he's just like making just stuff up. But I don't know. That's my four songs. So
You know, this album is so bad that you could actually pick any song. So I'm gonna pick one that no one has picked, and it's called "Pumping Blood." And that was like Lou Reed, like I think there's 2 minutes where he's like pumping blood, pumping blood, pumping blood. I'm like, what the fuck? Pump your own blood. like it's so bad. And there's some parts like the song seems like it's going to get like more rocking and fun, but no, it stays in the pumping blood, and it repeats that line so much that you're like, okay. And the second one I would pick is The View, because The View, when I was listening to it, it sounded like Lou Reed was at the supermarket and he's just giving like the names of the stuff that he needs to get from the counter. Like, I want a can, I want this, like check out on aisle 3. And like, I think there's on The View, there's like James Hetfield is in the background shouting, then I am the table, I am the table. And yeah, I'm going to show you this again. This meme is fucking hilarious. There you have it. James Table, James Hetfield is the table. What does that mean? We would never know. What does I am the table mean? It's just so, it's deep thoughts that I can't understand. I would pick Brandenburg Gate because it's a weird opener. And James Hetfield is like she's screaming like small town girl, and it just sets the tone for what this album is about, which I wouldn't know. And then I would also go with Shit on Me because it's long, and like really it's like, why do I shit on me? Why do I shit on me? And I would scream back to him, because you wrote this crappy fucking song, man. Like I feel like you're shitting on me. Like what? Like why did you write this track? And then you have James Hetfield, like, why do you shit on me? And it's just like very bad pruning. And the song is so long and repetitive that it's just atrocious. So yeah, I could have picked more. Like, it's easy like to pick songs here. Like so now we're going to our third and final round, where we give our final thoughts and we decide if it's really that bad. So Tom.
Yeah, I thought that this album had, sometimes when you were listening, when I was just listening to Metallica and what they were jamming and the guitar riffs, there were some moments where I actually quite liked what they were doing. And that sounds maybe like some people wouldn't sound it, because I mean, the sound is also kind of bad on this album as well, which doesn't help. But I actually found myself thinking, if they put some of what they were doing into proper songs with, proper verse, proper chorus and all this, some of the riffs might actually be quite good in different songs, or in separate songs rather, because there were moments, even in The View. I mean, we talked about how it was one of our least favorite songs and stuff, but I thought that there was a kind of breakdown in that song that was quite good, but it was ruined by the song itself, the lyrics, the just strangeness of the vocals and everything in that song. But you took it out and you did a proper song with it, maybe and you made the production a bit better too. I don't think that would actually be quite a cool song. I think if it was completely redone, almost completely redone. So yeah. I actually didn't mind JC, this was one of your least favorite tracks. So I kind of liked the last song because for most of it, it was just like quiet and moody, and there wasn't a lot going on. And I actually thought, oh, this makes a change from listening to Lou all the time. Poor Lou. But yeah, it just made a change from listening to that kind of just rambling lyricism and stuff, and actually just having a moment of peace at the end of the album, just to kind of snooze off to and think, oh, this is quite nice actually. This is a little bit melodic and a bit more up my street. I can deal with this a little bit more. Yeah, not quite shoegaze, Hector, but you know, a little bit softer and
No, it's not shoegaze.
definitely not shoegaze, no. But yeah, it's a bit more of a moodier piece at the end of the album, which I quite liked. But no, the album as a whole, it's a bit of a square peg in a round hole, as we say. So for me, it is getting the thumbs down. It's that bad, this one. I'm afraid Lulu goes with its siblings and anger.
Yeah. So JC, your thoughts?
Yeah, I also think it's bad. I guess like I'm not a Lou Reed fan. You know me, I like a lot of classic rock, but I never really got into the Velvet Undergrounds. So I guess if you are a Lou Reed fan, like maybe you can appreciate this, but for me, like as more of a Metallica fan, definitely no. Like if I had to choose between listening Saint Anger or this, I would always pick up Saint Anger over this.
Yeah.
I don't think I will ever listen to this again unless like
Forced
we
to.
have to like review it or something, but I don't even think I ever will again. So yeah, I do think it's bad. It's just very strange, but I kind of get it if you know, Lou Reed, he's been known to kind of do lots of like crazy things over the years. And I think if you're a Lou Reed fan, maybe you can appreciate it. But as a metal fan or just anyone else who just likes rock music or contemporary music, I don't think like they can appreciate this. And I think most people like wouldn't really be able to get through the entire album. Like it's not really music. It's just more like poetry with background music. Even Jim Morrison did, you know, the Doors, they took Jim Morrison like reading poetry and they played music behind it. That's something kind of like what this is. When on that Doors album called An American Prayer, which is actually pretty good, but this is just very weird. So it's a thumbs down for me. It's definitely a bad album. So that's what I'm gonna say. Yeah.
That's interesting. So you said you wouldn't listen to it again. JC, what if the spirit of Lou Reed comes and visit you? He's like JC, listen to my album, please. Lulu is a work of art. You wouldn't listen if the spirit of Lou Reed came to you, told you, please listen to my album. So you know that Lou Reed, I think he died a few years ago, and
he actually he died like 2 years after this came out. Yeah, I looked it up.
This album probably shortened his life. I'm telling you, like you imagine Lou Reed in his deathbed, and he's like, "Oh, there may be a chance to live," and someone that hated Lulu are like, "No, listen to this and die while you listen to your own album." I'm sorry, Lou Reed. I'm joking. I'm not glad that Lou is dead. And I know that if Señorita Sabrosura was here, she actually is a huge fan of the Velvet Underground. So maybe she could give us her point of view, but she's sleeping because she doesn't wake up this early. But yeah, my final thoughts on this album is like, this is like a strange poetry thing. Like I'm thinking this would be the album that if you're like a poetry sophisticated people, like yes, it's art, it's deep, it's meaningful. They would appreciate it. But I haven't met one person that owns this fucking album. Like if comment if you own this album, let us know, And the next question I would ask you is like, why did you buy this? Like, are you okay? Do you do you have some problems in your life that you bought this album? Like, I'm sorry, this album is so bad that I would rather listen to Saint Anger. And that's in Saint Anger, we bought it in the trash, but like there's no, I hate every track on this album. I don't like any track. I think they're all bad. Sometimes, like Tom said, it seems like there's a riff that's going to save it, and you're like, yeah, and then Lou Reed starts like talking again. I'm like, shut up, Grandpa, go back to your senior home. We don't want to listen to you. And yeah, it's just a weird collaboration that should have never happened. Like if this was the live listen erased, we would erase Lulu from the face of the earth. It didn't happen. So yes, as you can tell, Lulu by Lou Reed and Metallica goes straight in the trash. And this would be a trash with a compactor that you can break that shit so it can never be played again. So yeah, those are my final thoughts. So people, we want to know from you, what do you think of Lulu by Lou Reed and Metallica? Do comment. Do you like this album? Is there a track that you think redeems it? Let us know. And for our next video, as you voted, we're going to cover a 6 feet under record. I can't remember the name, but it's in the poll. I'll look it up, and that will be our next video. And for when we do that video, we'll do another poll with some other albums too, so people can vote, because it is interesting when people vote on what they want us to cover. So if you haven't done, please subscribe to my friend's channel, Tom the Green Man. He's got some great content, movies. He's got the Shoegaze Files. Plus, like he's so proper. He's very English. So like subscribe to his channel. And JC Rock and Metal Reviews, subscribe to him so he can get to 2000. And like every video you get to see, his beard just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Like 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 you should do stuff with the beard, man. That would be a cool, like let's vote, like what should JC do with the beard? Like you could do like some put some bows on it and stuff. JC's like
braids, or yeah.
put some braids on it, like and shit like that. And of course, if you're listening, watching my video, and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'm at the 700 mark, and the goal is to get to 1,000. So maybe I can make some money off of these videos someday. That would be cool. And if you, of course, until next time, people, will see you on the next video of Is It That Bad? So until next time, this is Hector the Shield on a couch, and we'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you, and good night.